has now eulogized a terrorist. To mark the one-year anniversary of the Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar's death, Canada's House of Commons held a moment of silence on Tuesday. This once again brings to fore Canada's, or at least the current dispensation's, ugly politics over Khalistan extremism on its soil. Forget what they believe about India's role in Nijjar's killing. This is a man who by no means, by no stretch of imagination, was a role model whose killing deserved this honour in the country's parliament. The Canadian government actions have become a joke. Nijjar, the chief of Khalistan Tiger Force, was killed in a targeted shooting in Canada's Surrey on June 18th last year. His name was on the list released by the Indian government with 40 other designated terrorists. Remember, this is a guy who entered Canada in 1997 under fake passport, had his refugee claim rejected, and who married a woman to sponsor him for immigration only for that to be rejected too. Today, of course, political compulsions are that Canada Parliament is honouring him as some sort of a saint. Now, in response to this, the Indian Consulate General in Vancouver has announced a memorial service instead to honour the 329 people killed in the 1985 Khalistani bombing of the Air India Kanishka aircraft, whose 39th anniversary is coming up on June 23. The question we ask today is fairly simple. Has the Canadian government actually revealed its true reasons for raising Nijjar's killing with India in the manner that it did, with this moment of silence that they have observed? Has it revealed that it isn't so much about some rule-based order issue, but a deeply political move to appease a section on their soil? Has Canada, in fact, committed a self-goal by eulogizing a terrorist? We'll take that to our guest joining us in just a bit. Now, the biggest question is, why would Canada do something like this? What on earth would compel Trudeau and his dispensation to honour a man who at best was a thug and at worst a terrorist? Well, here are some reasons. First up, let's not forget that this could be plain and simple an attempt to secure votes from radical Sikhs in Canada. According to the 2021 census, the population of Canada is 3.7 crores. Of this, 16 lakh, or about 4%, are Indian origin, and Sikhs are about half of that. This could also be an attempt to divert attention from China's interference in Canadian politics, which is actually a bigger threat or a more clear and present danger for Canadians. This could be done with an eye to cut rival Jagmeet Singh's hold on K elements in Canada, but at the same time, this could also be to ensure continued support from Singh's NDP for the alliance that Trudeau depends on. And finally, it's not really surprising because a lot of Western countries, particularly Canada and US, have in some way or the other used the K threat as a continuous policy to arm twist India. Canada, of course, has been the leader in this. Just to highlight the point of how far Canadian politics has gone in appeasing such sections, take a look at Nijjar's rap sheet. I mentioned, of course, how he entered Canada illegally, and in the past, he wasn't really looked at very favorably. But since 1984, he's been radicalizing youth. He's accused of funding secessionist activities in Punjab, instigating anti-India activities and more. Almost 3 decades later, in 2015, a lookout circular was issued against Nijjar, and in 2016, a red corner notice was issued against him as well. More than 10 FIRs were pending against him in India, including in the 2007 Ludhiana blast that killed 6 and injured around 40. He is believed to have trained the likes of Hardeep Singh to kill RSS leaders. And in January 2021, he attempted an attack on a Hindu priest. His alleged involvement in tiffin bomb attacks is also under lens. And in 2020, his name, as I said, was on the list released by the Indian government with 40 other designated terrorists. The allegations that have been made by Canada were first levelled by them, but its allies soon put their weight behind those charges. So the Five Eyes, which is an intelligence alliance comprising of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK and US, have been quick to raise questions on India on Nijjar's killing, but India has remained firm despite what some would call bullying of the worst order. Let me just break down how India has taken on all the charges that have been levelled against it by all of these Five Eyes countries. So, of course, Canada was the first one. Justin Trudeau told his House of Commons that there were credible allegations that India orchestrated Nijjar's killing. India, of course, has denied any official role right at the outset. A Five Eyes partner, United States, claimed there was shared intelligence on the matter and sought accountability in the case, to which India simply asked, where is the evidence of involvement of any Indian official? Australia called the charges leveled by Canada concerning, and they have said that they are monitoring the probe. They've been a little bit less severe. India's Ministry of External Affairs has slammed the fact that there is a prejudging of the case without any proof being presented or even a trial that has happened. United Kingdom echoed Australia. While they said that the charges were serious, they of course have maintained that this doesn't impact their ties with India. New Delhi has maintained that Canada's charges are absurd and motivated. And only one of the Five Eyes partner was a little skeptical, which was New Zealand, that actually questioned publicly the lack of evidence in the matter. India, meanwhile, also formed a high-level committee, even as it continued to demand proof. Now, both Canada and US have blamed India for orchestrated targeting killings on its soil against Sikh separatists. US is prosecuting, for example, an Indian national for an alleged plot to murder another Khalistani, Sikhs for Justice Chief Pannu. What's happened in that case? The Indian national, Nikhil Gupta, was just a few days ago extradited to the US in that case. He's accused in the murder plot of K-terrorist Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. Gupta was arrested in Czech Republic, in fact, on June 30 last year, and he was implicated in this plot to hire a hitman to kill Pannu. Pannu, of course, has not been killed. US has claimed that an Indian official instructed Gupta, which is why they are also insisting that there is some Indian role. Nikhil Gupta, through his lawyer, has denied these charges. He's actually also pleaded not guilty in US court after being brought there. Meanwhile, New Delhi has once again denied any involvement of any Indian in the plot. With that, the big question we're asking today is simply this: has Canada committed a self-goal of sorts because of their great honor and eulogy for a person who was, in India's eyes, a terrorist, but even in Canada was a source of great nuisance? So, with eulogizing a terrorist, have they really revealed their true intentions and conducted or committed a self-goal? That's coming up with our experts.
That there is an agreement to observe a moment of silence.
Let's go across to our experts joining us. Ashok Sajjanar is former Indian diplomat. Madhav Nalapat is Director of Geopolitics and International Relations, also UNESCO Peace Chair at Manipal University. We're joined by Lieutenant General K.J. Singh, former GOC in Chief, Western Command of the Indian Army, and R.P. Singh, National Spokesperson of the BJP, is also joining us. Let me begin with R.P. Singh. In fact, this is about politics, no denying. This has also been some sort of a shadow boxing that has been going on with Canada, with US, with the Five Eyes in general. Many suspect this has something to do with the fact that India is no longer so easily arm-twisted when it comes to foreign affairs. But has the Indian government also failed to kind of, make any difference as far as this matter is concerned? Because look at what Canada is doing today. It doesn't care about its relationship with India.
Well, Shivani, you rightly put it that it is politics more than anything else. It's the politics of the Canada and the political compulsion for Mr. Trudeau that he is to stay in power, and to stay in power, his number doesn't tally, and he needs support of radicals to support him in the Canadian Parliament. So he will go to any extent because he is one of the most unpopular prime minister there right now. All the surveys, everything shows that he is very unpopular now, and then. If the elections are held any time, he might not come back. We can't say anything about internal politics of the Canada, but all what you read here in newspapers or what we see on TV channels here or the YouTube or the social media here is that he is highly unpopular. So to safeguard his seat, to safeguard his position in the parliament, he can go to any extent.
But sir, can I just come in? Just a brief interruption. You know, generally when it comes to foreign affairs matters, I know that Canada particularly has a very bad record when it comes to Khalistani extremism on its soil. I mean, look at what they did when it came to the Kanishka bombing investigation. But generally, you know, prime ministers in an establishment are not allowed to tinker with their foreign policy to the extent that they destroy a relationship with a country, a friendly country, by the way, to the extent where there might not be a point of any return, just to safeguard their chair. So this isn't just about Trudeau in that sense. This is clearly Canada not really caring about where Indo-Canadian relationships go, just for this Nijjar fellow.
Well, it's not just Nijjar, as you rightly put, it's the chair which is more important, is staying in power which is more important than just Trudeau, just Nijjar. So he'll go to any extent to safeguard his seat, his chair, his position in the parliament, and then for that regard, he is prepared to make any compromise. But I was going to Nijjar itself. Before you talk about Nijjar as a person and what he has done, and all those cases he had in India, the FIR, the Red Corner notice and everything. The whole of this thing started with killing of Ripudaman Singh Malik. I'm just naming one name. Ripudaman Singh Malik was part of the gang which will be anti-India gang, and he was part of the Kanishka bombing also. And he got scot-free from the case after the long drawn case in the courts. He got the clearance from on the case. So, but Ripudaman Singh changed his heart, and then he probably at the later stage of the age, he thought that what he was doing was not right. So he wanted to come to India also, and he came to India. He apologized for what was done. So that started the bickering, and then Nijjar got Ripudaman Singh Malik killed. I'm saying on record, he got Ripudaman Singh Malik killed, and that led to the rivalry part, whereas the people who were close to Ripudaman Singh Malik or who were associates of Ripudaman Singh Malik, they probably would have got Nijjar killed also.
Right.
So this is how the complete thing has started. But again, another 1 second. And then the Canadian government, under the pressure of the radicals or the support of the radicals, they are going to this extent that they always talk about credible allegation. Have they ever given any evidence? And when you ask them what is the evidence, no, they will not talk about any evidence. So it's easy for them, but India is not India which used to be in 80s or 90s or 2000. It's India which is in 2024, and then which is being led by Prime Minister Modi, which can't be arm twisted by all these tactics which Canada is trying to apply, or even other countries.
What is clear is that Canada is not giving this up anytime soon. The other countries may blow a little hot and cold depending on some of their other concerns with India, but certainly Canada has decided under Trudeau that this is the path that they have to take. Madhav Nalapad, how do you look at this? Because from the outside, it almost sounds hilarious that they should honor this man. Like I said, whatever their contention on Nijjar's killing may be, on India's role, etc., why would you honor him, a man like that with such shady credentials and past, such a checkered past, with a moment of silence in Parliament?
Well, the fact is, Shivani, that Parliament sometimes act on wrong information, And you correctly mentioned the case of that Ukrainian who basically was supporting the Nazis and was responsible for the killing of hundreds of people. And he was a great honor in the Canadian Parliament. As far as this, I quite agree with you. We should never use the glorious word Khalistan in the context of these terrorists because they are linked to a country which has been, frankly, which has seen the worst possible genocide of one of the most noble communities in the world, the Sikh community. So it is a K group. You can never call it the Khalistan group. And secondly, if you look at the Sikh principles, they're completely averse to any form of terrorism. Their principles are based on protecting the innocent, in fact, of being bountiful, and they're completely averse to this kind of activity. Now, my point is, Shivani, which you correctly raised, two things. You raised that. One, yes, Trudeau is very anxious to shift the spotlight from China to India. He has got extensive linkages with China. Obviously, he would not want that to be revealed because the more and more the activities of China are making the PRC quite toxic in Canada, in the United States, in the West. So he wanted to shift attention from China to India. And the second thing is, democracy is a battle of narratives. I do believe, frankly, that there has been a narrative about this gentleman being anything other than what he was, a confirmed terrorist who was responsible for so many deaths. And
No,
it's good
so,
that,
in the case of the Nazi soldier, for example, one could say that not much was known about him by the time he was selected or brought to the parliament, and then, things started pouring out later. We are a full 365 days post Nijjar's killing. And I'm sure this personality, this entity, and even the organization that he headed, his activities, have been talked about threadbare in Canada. So I am not so willing to believe that the public there or the government there or the organization and the establishment doesn't know what he stood for or what his shady dealings were. But to bring down the honor of your parliament, to honor him, that reeks of politics.
I'd like to say that it is, to be frank with you regarding narratives, I think, as you correctly said, there was information about this Nazi that was available. But the fact is, I'm not talking about Justin Trudeau and his coalition. They have certain compulsions which make them support this K group. But the other parties, and from that point of view, immediately after this Nazi was honored, a huge flood of information came all across Western networks. And if you look at the information flow that has happened about this K network, for example, the mayhem that has been caused in Punjab in the 1980s, the horrible mayhem, the suffering of the Punjabi people, and the number of killings that these people have done, I frankly feel that we need to fill, even in Western chat rooms, Western online forums, Western media, factual information.
So you're saying there's a void that India needs to actively fill. Ashok Sajjanhar, have we failed in that then? A full year later, Canadians seem to be okay with this man and his killing being, marked by a moment of silence. It seems to me also, if we were to be a little bit self-critical, that we have failed to convince those who are open-minded in Canada about how dangerous Nijjar was.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shivani. Thank you for having me. Possibly I will not use the word fail. What I could say is that more could possibly have been done. India has been very categorical. India has been very assertive that, Canada is providing political space to elements that are inimical to India, that are threatening India, that are threatening the top political leadership of India, that is threatening the Indian diplomats, the Indian High Commissioner in Canada. So they have been providing political space to such elements. And Canada has been insensitive to India's concerns because, we have been sending out so much of information. We've been telling Canada that we need to extradite these people so as to face justice, as to face charges. Canada has taken no cognizance of that. So, we have been trying to send this message out. But I would tend to agree with you, and I would tend to agree with my good friend Madhav, that there is not enough information and knowledge about this whole issue as to how it has evolved. So possibly we can do, maybe not only through the AGs, not only through the instrumentation of the Indian High Commissioner and the Indian CGs, the Consulates General which are there, but I think through certain other influential people and organizations, think tanks, etc. I think we could possibly send out this information in a more persuasive manner. You see, sending out this information, Shivani, I have been in many of these embassies and high commissions in different parts. When the embassy says, when a government says, it tends to be viewed in a sort of a colored fashion, that is the official position. But I think if there are people who are coming, let's say from the field of journalism, let's say from the field of academics, intellectuals, other personalities, think tanks from universities, I think then that has much greater impact and influence, and possibly more could be done. But I think India has made out its case very strongly, because as was mentioned by, just one last point, by Mr. R.P. Singh, that you keep talking about credible allegations, etc. And it is, you have not provided any evidence, and we have told them right from the beginning that if you have any facts, if you have any substantive information, share that with us. Until very recently, our External Affairs Minister said that Canada has not come to us with any information of that.
What our External Affairs Minister, Lieutenant General KJ Singh, has also reminded Canada is, of course, snakes in your backyard kind of an analogy. Look at what a lot of these extremists in Canada are involved in: gang wars, drug trade, etc. They're not by no means quote unquote activists. Even if Canada was to use that line that we are for free speech and free expression, and even if you disagree with the politics of a certain group, we are going to allow it on our land, fair enough. But these are not really elements that are indulging in free speech and expression alone. They actually are thugs who also intimidate others from the Sikh community in Canada from speaking out their nationalistic point of view. What do you make of this politics that Canada seems to be in the grip of, this Khalistani politics?
Shivani, see, currently Canada is being ruled in a coalition kind of an arrangement. The party, Liberal Party, has to draw support from the New Democratic Party, which is led by Jagmeet Taliban. You would know that 16 Sikhs are members of parliament. 4 months down the line, there is elections on 20th October. There is compulsion, which is a very contradictory kind of compulsion to build up a narrative. And Indian Consulate has announced that on 23rd June, 39th anniversary of Kanishka bomb blast and that horrific killing of 329 innocent passengers, including 86 children, is going to be commemorated in the Air India Memorial at Stanley Park, Vancouver. Now, these are all emerging kind of situations, and June is very difficult month for Sikhs. It's a Blue Star anniversary. There are a large number of these kind of connected kind of events. Only about 10 days back in Brampton, another disgusting kind of rally was taken out where Mrs. Gandhi's W was there. So all this has been happening in Canada. And you're right. There are fugitives from India like Goldie Brar, like Landa. They are hiding over there. They are sheltered in Canada. And what is worse for us is they are vectoring criminal activities in India. Very significant number of criminal activities like bomb blasts and other things in court complexes and all have been traced back to these guys.
They are providing armaments, training, financing. So it's right for us to get concerned. NIA has listed, had listed Nijjar among the 40 terrorists, notified terrorists. And we were in the process of getting a red corner and other such notices issued for them. And like what RP Singh has said, it is a process of engagement. Somewhere Ripu Daman Singh Malik had come around to this view that he had made a mistake. So Indian agencies multilaterally are engaged in trying to
Okay.
get
Can I
them onto
can I ask
track
you?
path.
Can I ask you before I go across for a final word to the rest of the panel as well, Lieutenant General, what do you think would be that one thing that you would like to see India do as far as this matter is concerned with Canada that we haven't done so far?
I would like to endorse what Ambassador Sajjanhar has said and some others have said. It is possible for us to go there, and in the sense some think tanks and other organizations like this anniversary which is going to be commemorated. Is there a case for some people to go from India to make a big kind of an event out of it? Because after all, narratives are being set. And to somehow bring focus on the fact that the person that you are honoring was indeed a terrorist. And Shivani, one last point. I have said in other channels also, it is little controversial. My belief is Nijjar was a Canadian operative. This kind of love for him, this kind of allegiance to him, after all, these people have their own operatives
Yes.
who have been working with them.
Yeah,
So
and
this is
maybe this moment of silence, going that extra mile for Nijjar has proven exactly what everybody's suspicion was, that he was an asset for them, and that's why there is so many tears for him. But Professor Nalapad, 30 seconds to you. Do you expect the Five Eyes pressure on India to increase, and do you believe India can stand firm, because there are many other spokes in the wheel?
Shivani, India is standing firm and will continue to stand firm. The problem is we're talking about 1984. It was unforgivable what happened in 1984. There's no question. But it is completely dwarfed by what happened in 47, in 46 and 48. And that happened in Pakistan. Secondly, geopolitics has changed. In 1984, Indira Gandhi was still into the Indo-Soviet period of friendship. And now Prime Minister Modi has joined the Quad. He has just gone to the G7. There's been a complete geopolitical transformation of Indian policy. But regrettably, the Western policy towards the K group has remained fixated on what it was during a period when India was seen as an ally of the Soviet Union and was seen as therefore hostile to the West. They have unfortunately not adjusted. And I think, Shivani, it's important, as has correctly been said, that this narrative cannot only be built G to G or government to people. It's got to be people to people as well. And
well, India has such a huge diaspora in Canada, and maybe they can tap on the right-minded people amongst that diaspora to do so. You don't really need Indians living in India to do so. But Ashok Sajjanhar, final 30 seconds to you too. I want to understand from you, where you think this matter will go. Aside from Canada, how do you see the rest of the Western world reacting and picking it?
I think India needs to stay firm, Shivani, and I think push back against any sort of pressure that is being brought on us. You asked the question about Five Eyes. Let me say, the pressure particularly from the United States, because, any evidence or something that seems to be there, it seems to be with the United States. Canada has nothing. Canada has zilch, because if it had anything, it would have shared with India. Whatever it might be able to share, I think those are morsels that are handed over to it, maybe by the United States. But I think I also agree with General KJ Singh that people like Nijjar and Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, These are assets. Otherwise, why would government of the United States be willing to let the relationship with India be a hostage to what Gurpatwant Singh Pannu is doing?
Yeah.
He is threatening to blow up aircrafts. He is threatening to kill our Prime Minister. But still, there is no action.
Yeah, actually, Pannu's case is even worse than Nijjar's case in many
It's
in
much
many
worse.
senses.
It's much worse, and no action is being taken by the US administration. And you see, when charges are being framed against Nikhil Gupta, there is that holier than thou attitude that we will not allow anyone to come into our country and impact on the security of American citizens. Meaning, this is hypocrisy of the highest order.
And
So
we have
need to
discussed
push
that
back.
hypocrisy, of course, in the last 1 year, especially since this Nijjar
Yes.
case came to light. Hardeep Singh, I'll give you the final 30 seconds as well. This is going to be one of Modi 3.0's tests, isn't it, when it comes to foreign affairs and diplomacy? It's clear that Canada, maybe backed by US, not overtly but covertly, is not letting this go.
Well, Shivani, let me just read out what one of the supporters of the government, their NDP, the National Democratic Party, Jagmeet Singh, has just said a few days back, some 10 days back. He says that we know that the Canadian Prime Minister is not democratic, but we'll still support the minority government because his suit such is there in the interview. I was just going to the interview of Mr. Jagmeet Singh. And Jagmeet Singh is a known supporter of the Khalistan and known supporter of the radicals in the Western world. But that point aside, if foreign countries, the Western countries think they can use certain assets, I'm saying for them, Nijjar and Nijjar was an asset, or for them, Pannu is an asset. They can use that asset to arm peace India. Go another time. I mean, we will face it, and then we will face it hard, and then we'll give them back because we are not going to be cowed down by elements who want to break this country.
Maybe that's causing a greater sense of unease as well amongst those who had become very used to using the quote-unquote rule-based order according to their conveniences. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. RP Singh will continue with us because coming up after a very short break, we focus on the national capital, Delhi, which is suffering almost in an unprecedented manner because of rising temperatures, and to add to that is water scarcity. So who's accountable really for this, and when will the blame game end? We'll be back with more on that. It's a double whammy for the national capital. As sweltering heatwave conditions continue, Delhi has been reeling under acute water scarcity as well. Unfortunately, the situation isn't going to improve much in the coming days. Taps are running dry. People queuing up around tankers seems to be the new normal in most areas. Now, the Delhi government has been blaming the Haryana government for not releasing enough water, appealing to them on humanitarian grounds. There's also a legal case going on. The Haryana government in turn has said that the present scarcity in Delhi is largely because of the mismanagement of the water it releases by the city itself, and that it's already releasing more than what it's supposed to. A full-blown political war is on, but we don't know exactly who will take accountability for what is happening and end the suffering for the people. Let me first show you the extent of the crisis. It's not really limited to just some parts of the national capital where it may be routine to have, tankers and tanker mafia rule the roost, especially in summers. So from Geeta Colony and Okhla to the posh Vasant Vihar area, situation is the same. Patel Nagar in West Delhi, Upmarket Mehroli in South Delhi, all areas are now rationing their water. 40% reduction in water supply from Tilak Marg and Bengali Market underground reservoirs is leaving residents and businesses scrambling to adjust. Remember, already the Delhi government also came out with some diktats about how you can use your water and otherwise. Chanakyapuri, in the heart of the capital, is also witnessing a scramble behind water tankers. This year, the temperatures have broken many records, but the water crisis is not new, say many residents. It's the same story for many every year. So why is there no solution? First up, here's how bad the crisis is. As per the Delhi Jal Board, their claims have been, of course, contested. The water requirement is 129 crore gallons per day. The water being received, according to them, is 96.9 crore gallons per day. So the water shortage per day is 32 crore gallons itself. That is, of course, causing the situation in the national capital. But the question we ask today is, why is there a blame game every time we talk about something in the national capital? Why is it that we see intense politics on it, but hardly any solutions till the matter subsides on its own? That we take with our guests in just a bit.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी से ये विनम्र निवेदन किया है कि वो दिल्ली के लोगों को पानी दिलवाएं।
मूल कारण दिल्ली का भ्रष्टाचार है। जल बोर्ड 600 करोड़ के फायदे में मिला था अरविंद केजरीवाल को, आज 73,000 करोड़ के घाटे पे है, लोन पे है। तो कहाँ गया वो पैसा?
Hardeep Singh, national spokesperson of the BJP, continues with us. Anmol Panwar, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, is joining us. Anand Arya, climate and water expert, will be with us in just a bit. Anmol, let me begin with you. There is a court case going on, and while you can appeal on humanitarian grounds to all the neighboring states that, have a water sharing agreement as far as Delhi is concerned, all of that is fine. But, the Council for Haryana and the centre in court has pointed out that out of the 100 litres of water that Delhi gets, only 48.65 litres reaches the public in the capital. The rest is lost due to leakage or tanker mafia or theft by industrial units. Why doesn't the Delhi government at least come out and explain this?
Shivani ji, first of all, we all know that Delhi being a landlocked city and in a semi-arid zone, it primarily relies on the water from neighboring states. 90% of its water requirements is met by the state. And that is the agreement which was signed 30 years back by the 5 states, by the chief ministers of the 5 states. Now, as far as leakage and 48% wastage is concerned, that is an entirely
52% wastage. 48% reaches the public.
That is a fallacious argument. Had it been so, then it would have created a flood-like situation. 52% wastage. That is non-revenue water.
No, 52% is not wastage. 52% includes leakages plus theft of that water.
Not at all. This is what I am stating, that this is a fallacious argument. It is only non-revenue water which is not billed, but it is available for utilization. And as far as leakage is concerned, the Delhi government in last 8 years have changed pipelines, 3,500 kilometers of leaked pipelines. We set up a leakage and detection cell in which in last only 6 months, more than 2,000 such instances have been dealt with and leakages have been corrected. So the only problem which we are facing is that Haryana government must supply 650 million gallons per day of water to Delhi government, whereas from 18th June onward, we are only receiving 513 million gallons per day of water.
Okay, you know, I'm not understanding how I can deal with this he said, she said, because there's a court case going on. You have taken the Haryana government to court precisely on this issue, that you are not getting your sufficient requirement from Haryana. We haven't really heard the court admonish Haryana on this or anything. They are saying that the Yamuna board should meet and, you know, should see what the solution can be. In fact, that board is also apprised of the water that supposedly was supposed to come from Himachal, and they are asking Himachal Pradesh how much extra they are releasing. No, my point is this. My point is this. No, I want the BJP also to respond on this. The point is this, that AAP will say something, BJP will say something. There is no way for the common public to understand who's saying the honest truth.
I need 10 seconds to respond.
Yeah.
The Honorable Supreme Court on 13th June admitted the fact that there's water issue in Delhi. And he directed the Delhi government to make a representation to Upper Yamuna Canal Board. The Himachal Pradesh government has agreed to send 137 cusecs of water. Then why is the Haryana government obstructing that water to Delhi?
That's exactly the case I'm pointing to. No, that's exactly what I'm pointing to, because again, the Haryana government representative has told the court that this issue about Himachal wanting to give extra water to Delhi, the board, the Upper Yamuna board is apprised of that matter. This matter is pending before them, which has asked the Himachal Pradesh government to give details of this additional water that the state is willing to supply to Delhi. So, you know, this is just legally there is a case going on. It should be sorted out there. If there were such clear, glaring examples of who's not doing their part, it would have been sorted by now, but I don't know what to say, whether that works or doesn't work. 1 second. Can I ask RP Singh? RP Singh.
The Haryana government to answer that why are they obstructing? Why are they not facilitating the water to Delhi?
No, but the Solicitor General Tushar Mehta is suggesting that that water has not been released. It's been promised. Has Himachal released that water?
It has not been released because the Haryana government has outrightly refused to facilitate the water to Delhi.
Yeah, so that's what I'm pointing out. The BJP representative will respond to that, but in court, surely in court people are not lying. At least that is my assessment, right? In court, they will not commit perjury by saying things that are inaccurate. So they have said that this matter is pending before the Yamuna board. But RP Singh, please respond to this. Why is the Haryana government being obstructionist? This agreement is between UP, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Himachal. Why is it that the Aam Aadmi Party is only raising the concern with Haryana?
Rajasthan as well.
Rajasthan, yes.
Because they always do that. It's 9.5 years they're in power. They can't resolve the issues of city. They can't. They promised they will make Delhi as London, and they have turned Delhi as Somalia. So they keep doing this again and again. They keep pointing fingers at others where they don't do what they have to do as a party in ruling from 9.5 years. Ask them how many new treatment plants have they done made in Delhi in last 9.5 years? None. And then what is the capacity of Delhi to treat water? Is only 1000 mgd. But whereas the supply is almost into to 1290 mgd. So where is that rest of the water will be treated? So we all know the problem lies with the distribution system, problem lies with the treatment system of the city, problem lies with the no money being spent. Rather, Delhi Jal Board has been used as a milking cow for making money. I mean, company which has 700 crore rupees profit has turned into a loss-making company today. So they are not doing their job and they are pointing fingers at others. And it's not new. It's every year. Just wait for some more time, another 10 days or 15 days. I'm telling you today, Delhi will be flooded. Delhi will be flooded by the rainwater. Mr. Please, I never interrupted you.
One by one,
Sir,
please.
stop.
One by one.
Shivani, you have to stop this anarchist in between.
Yeah, one by
Listen,
one.
He is behaving like an anarchist, like his leader who's in jail now.
Your government has created.
I never interrupted.
They are not bothered about.
You are behaving like an anarchist, like your leader who's in jail. Arvind Kejriwal is in jail because of anarchism. He thinks he's above law, and you are doing the same.
One minute. Anmol, can I just come in? Listen, I don't want to do.
Shivani,
Can I just come in? One second. Anmol, you got your fair say.
No, Shivani, you have to
Let's not
lower
interrupt others.
I'm sorry, then I'm not
yes,
going to part of the debate.
I'll be saying I get your point, and I'll try my best that nobody speaks over you. But my point is
No,
also
can I
this.
complete? Shivani,
No,
allow
one
me to
second.
complete.
But you didn't
Shivani,
answer
give me
my
a second and
question.
allow me to complete,
No,
please.
I will. But you didn't answer my question. It's plain and simple. Is Haryana releasing the water it's supposed to? Is it willing to cooperate so that Himachal water can come to Delhi or not? The Haryana government should make it clear.
110%. Whatever water Himachal releases, it will be forwarded to Haryana. Haryana can't hold water. Haryana will not hold water. Haryana can't hold water because it has its own capacities. It can't hold water beyond a capacity. But what I was going to tell you is, wait for another 10 days, 15 days when the rain falls. There will be 155 spaces usually overflooded in Delhi, and it's year after year it happens. And thereafter 2.5 months it will be pollution in city. And then again they'll point fingers toward the Haryana or toward UP that they are burning stubble. So there's a very easy way out for them to point fingers at others than doing what they are supposed to do.
Okay, Anand Arya is also with us. Anand, is the problem going to get solved only when we have rains in Delhi? Apparently, the groundwater situation in Delhi is also not anything to write home about. There's a recent report that talks about how 99% of the groundwater in Delhi has already been extracted. So there are no reserves. But are rains our only savior, or do you think there are other solutions, but politics is making those solutions a casualty?
You see, what we normally use one expression, Ram Bharose. I think the public of Delhi is essentially Ram Bharose now. This government, I mean, if you look at it, the management of the water for supply into Delhi, there are several parts of it. One is the governance part of it, that whatever is available, you make the best use of it. Has the government done that? No, it has not done that. And then again, it is a blame game all the time. I mean, what stops from the Delhi government minister or one of the chief secretaries or the secretary to fly over to Himachal, sit with the concerned officials and see that that water which they promised is released properly through the canal, Munna Canal. So that we do have the water which is with the Haryana now, and then Haryana has no business, otherwise it will be held for contempt of court of the Supreme Court. Because they promised that whatever we receive, we will release. And from whatever statistics which has been given to me, you see, the two things surprised me. One, that every time Aam Aadmi Party always says that the blame lies somewhere else, and they will never give you the facts. Can they say that each day so much of cassettes of water is being released to them? No, I have not heard that. Now, the question is that what are the sources of water? Now, the sources of water are basically four basically. One, that you get it from the Yamuna Canal, you get it from Ganga, and you get it from Nangal Dam. I mean, this provides the nucleus and the total availability of the water, majority part of it. Now, the rest is what you have to conserve the rainwater. Now, conserving the rainwater, there are two ways of doing it. One, that Delhi is actually blessed because Wazirabad, Old Delhi Railway, railway bridge, then ITO bridge, then the Nizamuddin bridge, then the Okhla bridge. I mean, this provides you almost 10,500 hectares of area where you can store water for the, for the rainwater all the time.
Yeah.
And use it in emergencies like this.
Yeah.
Now,
so
this
what
is what
preparations? What preparations
No,
have?
I'll tell you. I have been telling these people right from the year 2004, and in 2014, when I, the 15 दिन की जो 40 दिन की सरकार थी, I met Mr. Kejriwal on some another issue, and then I mentioned, and he says, okay, if that is so, please send me a concept paper, which I did to him. And unfortunately, from May 28, 2014 till May 29, 2024, not an action has been taken on that concept paper.
No, that's precisely the prices. That's precisely the question I wanted to ask the AAP representative. You came to power in Delhi on the promise that this is a collective of individuals who have, no personal gains from politics at their heart. These are professionals, intelligent people. Arvind Kejriwal himself, from the IRS, etc. But what are those radical solutions that you have incorporated or executed in Delhi to solve its age-old problems? I don't see any.
Shivani ji, let me present you some facts. In Delhi, the water capacity increased from 840 million gallons per day in 2014 to 1,005 million gallons per day in 2023. More than 5,200 kilometers of pipeline has been laid in unauthorized colonies. 2,100 kilometers of pipelines have been laid in villages, in rural areas.
But when there is no water, what are you going to do with those pipes?
Let me complete. We have mandated the implementation of water harvesting in around 9,688 government premises. More than 7,500 premises have water harvesting treatment plant, water harvesting setup, and we have also made it mandatory for the people in any of the land more than 100 square meters to have water harvesting facility. And in case they do not abide by it, a penalty of 1.5% is levied on them. And
but where are the large water harvesting services of the Delhi government? It's very easy to penalize the public that already, doesn't have the kind of facility or the money financially to execute these kind of solutions. I'm not saying that they should get a free pass. But my question, very quickly, Anmol, my question, please answer this, please. I request you. The perception of the Aam Aadmi Party government is, over the last 10 years, uninterrupted government in Delhi, is that for everything that Delhi faces, there are no long-term solutions offered by you. You just blame everybody else. That's the perception.
Shivani ji, the fact is that Haryana government, it's not that we blame anyone without any basis. There's a basis why we are saying that it is the responsibility of Haryana government, because with a population of 3 crore, they get 6,500 million gallons per day of water, while Delhi, having more than 2 crore population, gets only 1,500 million gallons per day of water. This agreement, which was signed by the Chief Minister of 5 states 30 years back, was because there's a problem of water in Delhi since last 3 decades.
Yeah,
and
what have you done about it?
This is why the Honorable Supreme Court has time and again said that whenever there's water scarcity in Delhi, then the water must be released to Delhi first and then to other states.
No, my point is exactly this. These hearings have been going on for some time. If it was actually found that the state, particularly states like Haryana, were not releasing the fair share for Delhi, I think there would have been some reprimand by now. But Anand Arya raised his hand. I have 30 seconds for you, then I'll give the final word to RP Singh as well. Anand Arya.
I have one question.
One second, Anmol, 1 second. Anand only, please. Yes.
You see, the question is that of governance here. Now, if they say that this much is the requirement, what is it that they have done in the last 10 years? I mean, to make sure that the supply of water is augmented, number one. Number two, on the groundwater, of which I have studied a lot, I can tell you this, that had they completed the sewage treatment plants as directed by the NGT in January 2016. By 2017 September, then today they would have a capacity of, I don't know how many billions or millions of gallons per day they could have drawn from the ground, which they have done very little. Because all those 42 nalas are still falling without any treatment into the Yamuna.
You know, and all of that pipe laying is one thing, but if there is no water that you have for it, then those pipes are useless. Hardeep Singh, I have 20 seconds left. Please, your final word on this.
Well, I was shocked at the new terminology named water harvesting treatment plant. This shows what sort of propaganda material they use, the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson uses, and then he's telling all crap. I mean, there's no pipeline being laid today. Their MLAs make huge, humongous money by colliding with water tanker mafia. And they came with a promise, they came with the oath that we will demolish water tank mafia. Mr. Kejriwal is on record saying that I will ensure that Sheila Dixit get punishment because she is colluded with water tank mafia. Today, their MLAs are colluding with the same water tanker mafia. And then not only that, because it is easy for them to ensure that water goes to water tank, because every water tank which reaches any colony or any hutment area, it makes money for them. And the money in return goes to the MLAs and the political leaders.
You know, ultimately it's about the fact whether the Aam Aadmi Party believes that blaming everybody else is going to win them the trust of the public in Delhi, or is that trust going to be eroded after a point? And it's a unique situation where the government in power in Delhi is threatening an unshan, even though they're in charge of water in the national capital. But I'll leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. Before I leave you, Neeraj Chopra returned to competitive action in style, winning the gold in men's javelin throw at the prestigious Pavo Nurmi Games. Remember, the Paris Olympics are coming up and he's warming up very nicely. We leave you with his best effort of 85.97 meters in Finland. Thanks a lot for watching.
The lead, but that has just been surpassed by Oliver Helander. Neeraj Chopra now down in second place despite two 83-meter throws. Helander in front of the home crowd. Oh, that is a lovely, lovely effort from Neeraj Chopra up over the 85-meter line. He lifts his arms up like that when he likes his throws, so you know something special is coming with the Indian throwing really well here. We saw him in the stand in Ostrava. He was due to compete. He was concerned perhaps there could be more injury disruptions for the Olympic champion.
Powered by News18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
Viewers, you're with the hard facts from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studios. Viewers, it is fast becoming an epidemic. Unverified, mostly political news breaks from dodgy sources. It is almost immediately mainstreamed by political parties and used to